Welcome back, and this is part three of the email marketing prowess series. Let's talk about creating a compelling copy. Now, you've won half the battle. You got them to open up your email, but now they've opened up your email. You need to make sure you hold their attention. You need to make sure they read everything to the end of your email, and then you want them to take action that you've asked them to take. This is where you'll send out a variety of different emails. Sometimes you'll send out how-to articles, tips, or other information. Sometimes you might send out an announcement. At other times, you may give your subscribers a freebie, such as a report. You may send them to your blog. This is a great idea to show them other stuff. The main point I'm making here is that there are different emails you can send out to your subscribers for them to go through the rest of your email. However, for the purposes of this module, I'm going to focus on one type of email for now. We're going to look at the promotional email. So just as the name implies, this is where you promote a product and service. Now, in order to do that, you need to address the prospect's problem. You need to then offer them a solution and then build value for the service by showing benefits. Finally, you can provide a call to action where you specifically tell people to click through to a sales letter or to the main product or service. Now, you already know how to write the subject line. So let's take a look at the other parts of the promotional email. This is the part of the email where you specify the problem. You really want your prospects to think about the pain this problem causes. You also want to show your prospects that you understand and empathize with them. So let's look at a couple of different openers. First, you want to tell a story. Tell a story about you or someone else who's had this problem. A story really, tends to engage the people emotionally, which is why it's so often such a powerful opener. Plus, by sharing a story about you, you can demonstrate that you truly understand and empathize with those who have the problem. Let's look at an example of a story. Just been passed over for another promotion. I consciously worked hard for 2 years, making sure that projects were delivered on time and under a reasonable budget. There were many long hours after 2 years. A lot of time I was away from my family. So when it came time for my appraisal and I was passed over for promotion, you can imagine the disappointment I felt. Maybe some of this sounds familiar to you. You can see how this type of story taps into the prospect's pain. The last line is a great place to then transition to talking about the prospect. And make no mistake, you want to talk about the prospect. You want to start talking about the prospect as soon as possible. That's because most of your email copy should be about your reader, not about you. Yes, the story started out about you, but when you make that shift at that last line, the rest of the copy should become about your prospect, their problems, their pains, their fears, their solutions. Now, here's a good check whether your copy is oriented towards the reader or towards you. Simply look at how many times you use the words you and your versus how many times you use the words like I, me, and mine. Take note of the last line, which uses the word you. That's how you should write the copy after you finish your story. So instead of writing, I will show you how to stand out from a crowd, you write, you will discover how to stand out from the crowd. I hope you see the differences. The first line is slightly oriented towards the writer with the use of the word I. The second line is oriented fully towards the reader. So again, once you get past your story, make sure your copy is oriented towards the reader, not you. Now let's look at a second example of an opener. Since this one doesn't include a story, it's naturally oriented towards the reader immediately. A second way to open up your email is to go straight to talking about the problem. This is where you remind readers of the pain of the problem while showing you understand. And the easiest way to explain this is to simply show you an example. Jonathan's story. Imagine this. You spent months and months applying for work. You sent your resume to just about all the job boards you can think of, but you only received 2 replies, and most haven't had the courtesy of even emailing you back to check the status of your applications after you sent it in. You spent countless hours going over 40 interview questions that an employer may ask at an interview, but you've only been asked for an interview just once in 2 months. You're really depressed about this now. Even for that one interview, it was a long shot because you weren't matched to that job and the competition for that job was insane. Now, in a sense, this type of opener is a story, except it's a story about the reader. Okay, again, your research into your avatar comes into play here. You've completely researched your target market thoroughly and you understand their problem. Then you can demonstrate that you understand their pain just as the story demonstrated. Now, of course, you don't want your email to be too long. Your opener doesn't need to be a very long either. You can create this sort of opener in just 1 to 3 sentences. Here are some examples of very short openers. Are you struggling to get noticed? Are you frustrated that your resume is not selected from the hundreds anymore? Is your resume and cover letter not getting you selected for first round of interviews? Then you want to read every word of this letter. So these openers go straight to the point, really allows for an easy transition to the next part of the email. So maybe start to tap into your story and start thinking about how you're going to transition to your readers' pain and their problem. Start to think about your story, think about other people's story and how it will be addressed. I've just jot down some ideas after this video, maybe go past this video again to give you some ideas. Again, check out the resource section and I'll see you in the next video.